state of emergency is actually going beyond that and imposing extraordinary measures that will abridge the rights, the fundamental human rights of the people who live in the affected states.
The House could not finish its debate on the issue as many lawmakers could not make their contribution, which made the Speaker to adjourn proceedings to Thursday.
As a leadership, we have discussed and agreed that we vote on this motion tomorrow. And before doing that, we will be expecting the service chiefs to appear before the House. I will request principal officers, state caucus leaders, and zonal leaders to reach out to our colleagues who are probably out of jurisdiction, out of Abuja, to kindly come in.
On Thursday, the House of Representatives met with the service chiefs for more than 2 hours over issues surrounding the extension of state of emergency in the 3 northeastern states. The meeting commenced at 2 p.m. and with a few minutes to 5 p.m., the Speaker put the question of extension to lawmakers.
Those in support of the extension of state of emergency in the states of Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe should please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it.
Despite what appeared like a unanimous decision, there were dissenting voices by some lawmakers who argued that it is unjustifiable and an outright imposition.
All the Boko Haram that they are pursuing are in Sambisa. I can assure you we don't have one single Boko Haram in Yobe State.
So and therefore you see no reason?
We see no reason. That is our argument. That is our argument. All my families are in Yobe. I have never left Damaturu for even 10 days. We are getting peace. Let allow our people, if Mr. President let him declare state of emergency to the Sambisa forest, not Borno, Yobe. They know the place.
We have thrashed all issues, and we tried to divide the issues into 2. The need for the emergency rule, even because the dynamics have changed. Now that there's an international dimension to the whole thing, and for us as a democracy, you cannot just allow people to just come into your country, go and do whatever they want without an enabling law. So we find it expedient to use the emergency rule as a necessary legal backing, so that all the cooperation that we're receiving from the international community will now culminate into a synergy with our own military here, so that we can have the result we require.
Addressing a news conference after the proceedings, spokesman for the House said the Constitution is clear on what needs to be done in times such as this.
When we were having the debate yesterday, we had various opinions. Even when we came to the chambers, we had different opinions. But when we listened to the service chiefs, a lot of us had a second thought as to our stance, and we're convinced.
The National Assembly may make laws for the Federation or any part thereof with respect to matters not included in the exclusive legislative layers for the purpose of implementing a treaty. Now the tricky issue there is subsection 3. A bill for an act of the National Assembly passed pursuant to the provisions of subsection 2 of this section shall not be presented to the President for assent and shall not be enacted unless it is ratified by majority of all houses of assembly in the Federation. So it means that we have to go around the states to endorse. Do we have that time?
The House of Representatives may have given the extension required by the executive after what they say was useful insight given by the service chiefs on the security situation in the affected areas. But they also realized the need to follow up the efforts put in by the military to see to the end of terrorism in these states. All eyes will now be on the Senate to see if the upper chamber would go in the same direction as the House of Representatives and approve the extension of emergency rule. Time and time again, many Nigerians have raised concerns about the country's criminal justice system, be it the slow adjudication of cases, huge number of awaiting trial inmates in prisons, to name a few. The Senate and the House of Representatives are presently working to overhaul the criminal justice system. In the Senate, the bill to reform the country's criminal justice system scaled the crucial second reading. Let's watch.
A bill seeking to overhaul Nigeria's criminal justice system scaled second reading in the Senate during the week, with senators applauding its initiation as the dawn of a new era in the administration of the nation's justice system. Leading debate on the bill, Senate leader Senator Victor Ndomaiba described the nation's current criminal justice administration as archaic, unproductive, slow, and open to abuses. He noted that the bill, which emanated from the House of Representatives, sets out to address the menace.
The primary objective of the bill is to ensure the speedy and efficient administration of criminal justice in Nigeria. It seeks to bring together the criminal code, the penal code in one body of law, so as to promote uniformity, protect the society from crime, as well as protect the rights and interests of accused persons and victims in criminal proceedings in the country.
The bill seeks to establish guidelines for the implementation of plea bargain, which the Senate leader said is being haphazardly applied in the courts now as a result of lack of enabling law. He said the bill puts measures in place to avoid its abuse and as well prohibits the arrest of family members or associates of a person suspected to have committed a crime.
In the United States alone, about 80% of criminal cases in federal courts are decided on plea bargain. In addition, the bill proposes sentencing guidelines to avoid abuse of judges' discretion or corruption. The bill also prohibits the arrest of family members or associates in lieu of persons suspected to have committed a crime.
The bill prohibits torture and inhuman treatment of arrested persons, as the new law authorizes the police to electronically record or video whenever confessional statements are made, generates full record of arrest with dates and photographs of the persons arrested for proper documentation. It also authorizes any security agency which has the power of arrest to submit quarterly reports to the Attorney General of the Federation, while it also seeks to decongest the prisons. The bill provides an improved regime for the protection of victims of rape and other sexual offenses, as well as giving special consideration to convicted pregnant women. In his contribution, Senator Solomon Awuga noted that the bill is timely. Also speaking on the bill, Senator Babajide Omoworare said, with the bill, plea bargain will no longer be at the discretion of the judge, having provided the best standard for its application. He also expressed pleasure in the revolution that the bill will bring to prisons, which is said currently accommodates over 70% of inmates without trial. In the same vein, Senator Smart Ademi observed that plea bargain is hitherto being abused, with influential people taking advantage of it to evade justice, adding that nobody should be seen to be above the law, but the same standard should rather apply to all.
If, as a result of the power you have, you can procure the power of a plea bargain against the background of palpable wrongs, then we are progressing in the judicial processes without dealing with the real culprits who are trying to deal with. And of course, law is not made for an individual. It is meant for the society. And we cannot say because of the present problems, we would not go ahead with it.
It is a welcome development because it is now being codified. It is no longer going to be plea bargaining by convention, leaving so much to discretion and so much to the whims of whoever the presiding judge is. Let me say that it is important that after conviction, there are provision for sentencing guidelines, and this is very important. This reduces how much discretion a judge can have.
Plea bargaining is good, but of course, if we take a look at some of the cases in time past, you don't have to be a lawyer to know that it has been abused by way of favoring some people and allowing people to go away with state funds emanating to billions of naira. So I hold the view that some of these areas will require serious consideration.
Meanwhile, The House of Representatives considered a bill seeking to establish a National Child Protection and Enforcement Agency to oversee the implementation of the Child Rights Act. Sponsor of the bill, Benny La, raised concerns on the floor of the House over the recent spate of abuse, violation and cruelty faced by children, especially with the rise in insurgency in the country. Lawmakers in support of the motion are confident that the bill, if passed into law, would empower the agency to tackle the rehabilitation of children and victims of child and drug abuse, as well as regulating and monitoring the activities of any organization running a children's home. It also tackles the protection and rescue of children from any form of abuse.
Mr. Speaker, it's a known fact that abuse of all forms is on the increase in this country. Children are victims of abuse every day, and we've seen lately that even terrorists have now chosen to use children as targets, as spoils of war, and they've made them human shields, and now they're using them for all sorts of atrocities. This bill seeks to prevent the exposure of children from all forms of abuse, physical or psychological, by ensuring that there's an agency that's responsible for coordinating all the activities of violations of the human rights of children.
I am also a believer in small government. And of course, a lot of people are going to say that this is just another added agency that is going to swell the bureaucracy of the country. But Mr. Speaker, sir, nothing is more important than protecting the future of our children.